All right, everybody, welcome to IGTV, and this is our monthly CCTV update from the Access Communications Virtual Academy. And with us is one of their instructors, John Phelps. Good morning, John. How are you?
I'm doing well. Good morning, Joe. How are you doing? How was
Not
your
bad.
weekend?
Yeah,
Holiday.
well, it was a festive holiday weekend, as most families, it's filled with hungry people and cranky kids.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yep. So let's get into the topic here. First of all, before we get into the 1602, can you explain to me what is low light cameras? What are they?
A low light camera would be any camera, analog or IP based, that gives a good quality image in extreme low light conditions. Anything probably below, say, 10 to 12 lux, measured with a standard reflective lux meter, is where cameras will routinely begin to have image breakdown. They'll start to get much more noisy in the image because the sensors or the film stock is actually, you're trying to saturate it with more and more color to reproduce what little bit of color you have left in that low light environment. And there you're just adding more noise into the image, so it just gets more and more noisy, and the image essentially starts to break down, and you lose quality definition.
All right, before I let you take off here and go on the 1602, you mentioned a couple of things. First of all
Absolutely.
was lux, and
Hmm.
then you said noise.
Okay.
All right. Now, one of the things I noticed, I was out there reviewing the FBI video, and I was also out at a cell phone company that's implementing a CCTV system for their place. Now,
Okay.
does either lux or the noise pertain to the camera facing light, or what exactly are we talking about here?
Well, with any type of good quality image illuminated with the ambient light, and not necessarily the camera directly looking at that light. So with the way a camera works is it's going to take images based on the reflectivity of an object. So as you illuminate an object, it reflects light back to the camera, and that's the lux that we're using. That's the light levels that we're going to be using in the camera to expose that image.
Oh, okay.
So obviously, the more light you have on an object and the less light directly facing the camera, you're going to get better capabilities. Otherwise, you run into issues with backlighting and things like that.
And
Um,
that sounds like the situation where the FBI was talking about the store owner, like a retail shop where the cash register is right at the front door, and the camera is kind of pointing towards the door. And in the morning, everything's fine, and in the afternoon, the sun is bleaching through.
Absolutely, and
Right?
and we run into that often in our industry. As you know, there's certain requirements. Banks, for instance, or retail, where they want the camera in a certain position to catch people entering and also at the registers, and then you have the light behind. And some of the things you can use there would be backlight compensation control in the camera. Wide dynamic range has a lot of importance with an image like that as well, because it allows for multiple exposure zones, in a sense. And then there's true multiple exposure zoning within a camera, where you can actually select in the image of the camera where you want to expose based on. So those type of issues can help eliminate that type of camera placement. But certainly the best solution would be, some type of an awning, so that the sunlight in the afternoon doesn't come in, or perhaps camera location change, where you get maybe less face front shots, but more profile shots, but obviously better lighting on that person, or less lighting into the camera. So
Yeah, no, I've got you. And does that feed into? I don't want to put words in your mouth here. You were talking about noise on the video. All right, is that what you're referring to? Or?
it can be construed as noise in the video quality, as the camera starts to in a lot of instances. What we'll see, that type of noise would be more of the halo effect, where you have a person standing in front of a glass door and the sun's outside, and you get that huge halo around the person, so it becomes much more difficult to get clarity in the face of that person, or what he's wearing. So that can be one type of image noise that we see, image degradation that we see. But in low light specifically, the noise is really that the noise floor has been raised due to the fact that you have insufficient amount of photon energies, more or less than anything. You know, you have too little light, so you're trying to boost those colors, and you're just kind of trying to turn up the gain. Essentially, you're turning up that amplifier to 11
Yeah.
to get the noise. Excuse me, to get the image, and then obviously as you turn it up louder, you know, you hear distortions in the background as well, and we see those in video as we would hear them in audio.
I got you, John. I just wanted to nail that down just
Oh,
for
absolutely.
people who will be picking this up either today and now they'll get it live. All right. So why don't you get into the 1602? What
Okay,
is new
sure.
in that camera?
Well, the new Q1602 model camera that we have available, or very shortly to be available, is based on our new in-house developed chip, the ArtPec 4 series, which, among other things, has vastly improved noise reduction capability. So what it is an extremely low light friendly camera in color. And what I mean by that is ordinarily cameras, when they go to a certain lux level, if they're day-night cameras, will go black and white. And that's kind of been the norm for our industry for years. And as a law enforcement professional or somebody who works with law enforcement, you can certainly understand that black and white imagery does not lend itself well to being able to identify people extremely well. You may see a face and what they look like, but clothing color and car colors and everything else is obviously black and white or grayscale, so you lose that. So this 1602 remains in color down to 0.05 lux, which is an extremely low number for lux. It's practically dark. You know, for the human eye, it is to the point where you don't see a hand in front of your face. And this camera is able to remain in color in extremely low noise as well at that rate. So you get a very good picture quality at that low level. And it's a true day-night camera. It has an IR cut filter in it, so it can go black and white. And when it goes to the black and white mode, it can go down to 0.008 lux, which is, you know, almost pitch black.
It'd be really cool, John, and I know I'm probably pushing the envelope here as I normally would, but it'd be really cool if maybe on a future cast with you, and it doesn't necessarily have to wait until next month or anything like that, but if you guys could actually demonstrate some of the things that you're talking about,
Sure,
you know,
absolutely.
with the lux, with the noise and everything else, and then demonstrate this 1602 camera so people can actually see on the recording exactly what it is that you're talking about. I think that would really bring the point home.
Absolutely. And I do actually have a couple of videos that were shot when we were testing the camera in Sweden. I could certainly send them over to you. They're just a few, you know, seconds long, 20-second videos showing, you know, what the picture quality is in extreme low light conditions. Somewhere around 1 lux to 1.2 lux, I believe, is what it was measured at. I can certainly send those to you, and I promise you, Joey, I can make some video and get them over to you, and even do a live demo for you.
Yeah, if we
I
could do
haven't
the
touched
live
this
demo,
camera
that would
physically.
be great.
Yeah, this you know, I haven't seen. I've seen the camera. I haven't touched it yet myself, so that's I'm waiting patiently or impatiently, as the case may be, for this camera. So,
Yeah.
but it is you know, it's a Q series camera, like any of our Q series. Is the top of the line, has all the bells and whistles, multiple H.264 and motion JPEG video streams, you know, pixel counter, SD card for local storage. All that type of capability, but just the extreme low light capability, I think, is going to be a huge impact on the surveillance industry in multiple facets. You know, retail is going to be good, where you can have a camera that, you know, you don't have to leave all the lights on in the store to get good quality picture imagery. You know, parking structures where there's routinely, you know, 160-watt bulb somewhere in 10,000 square feet. You know, areas like that where historically have been very difficult. The gaming industry, where casinos, you know, over the floor are routinely quite dark. And to get any good quality picture, you have this blob of light right over the table, and then everything else is dark. So with the capabilities with wide dynamic range and in the low light, I think the camera would lend itself well there as well.
All right, John.